If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is February the 15th, 2023, and today the topic is, can the giver of life take life? First, I want to say hello to our friends over at Rumble. This is the first time that I'm supposed to be streaming live at the same time as and everything like that. So hello to those that may be watching on Rumble and everything like that. I hope that you all had a great Valentine's Day yesterday. Mine was just fine. For the most part, I kind of chilled, but then I also had a few tasks yesterday. One included filming an episode of the GSL talk show. My little guy had class yesterday as well. Outside of that, it was pretty chill, time in between. When NJ got up yesterday morning, he wanted to watch Little Bear. So that was a cute moment and whatnot. My husband, he went out to go hustle in the streets and whatnot. And so, it wasn't the most quote-unquote romantic, right, Valentine's Day. But like I said in my post, man, at the end of the day, every day is Valentine's Day when you marry someone who loves you unconditionally. So again, shout out to my husband. And thank you for being out there, being a man, you know what I'm saying, out here, getting it how he can. And I'm definitely praying for him to, get into the positions and things that he wants to be in and everything like that. No, I did not do my nails. I told y'all yesterday I was thinking about that I might consider doing it, but no, I didn't. So at some point I'm going to give myself some self-care, and everything like that, but that did not happen yesterday. So I'll let y'all know when it do. I'll let you know when it do. That's pretty much it in regards to reports from yesterday, but y'all, the Lord has been, I guess, downloading some things to me this morning, all right? So, first of all, I woke up this morning around 3:39, if I'm not mistaken. 3:39, and that, as well as just some other things that God had put on my heart and mind this morning, is the inspiration for today's topic. Y'all, can the giver of life take life? There's a lot to be said about this, y'all, so I might as well just get into it, because, so like I said, I woke up this morning at 3:39, and y'all know what I did. I went and Googled Bible 339 and whatnot, and I listened to the prayer meditation. It was all about rest, and it was good. But I just felt like the Lord was just bringing these different ideas to my heart and mind in regards to, I guess, like these questions that people have and everything like that. And so, basically after I listened to the prayer meditation, I just pretty much got on it, and I went back to the verse that I came across this morning, and it was in Lamentations, all right? Lamentations 3:39. It says, "Why should the living complain when punished for their sins?" And I was like, oh, Lord. Woo. That's a good question. Why do we complain when we're punished for our sins? One of the questions that came into my heart and mind this morning, before the prayer meditation or while I was listening to it, was this concept of people questioning, like, well, why did God kill? Why did God do this or that? Like, people say those things in order to, I guess, cast some doubt, right? To give a reason not to believe the God of the Bible, right? Because, well, it's interesting. I ended up going deeper in a lot of ways. So some of these questions, other people have dug into and whatnot. And this is what I'll say before I get into everything because there's a lot to share today. But the least that we can do as people, right, is to read. Again, I'm definitely a strong advocate for reading the Bible for yourself. That's one. Two, sometimes you got to go deeper, right? Sometimes you got to study a little bit more. And if you know, for example, that you're not the type of person that's going to go learn Hebrew and do all of that and do the comparisons and all that type of stuff, then the least you can do is check out the research of people that have done that. Okay, so I'm one of those people, and that's what I did, right? And so just a simple search this morning, led me to several articles and things that have addressed these questions and whatnot, and all of them are in the Go Deeper section for those that want to, I guess follow along with your girl and study what I study or whatever the case is. I shared those things with you. So our friends over at calm.org, I don't know them, but I'm calling them my friends anyway. Y'all know that this is one of my resources or whatever that I tend to go to. So calm.org tackled it in a lot of different articles, but the ones that I took a look at today were the ones that said, is the God of the Old Testament a merciless monster? Check out that article. There's another one that they have that says, God says you shall not kill, but he kills. Why does he contradict himself? Check out that article. I even went deeper because honestly, the best responses that I've heard to these questions is from crossexamined.org, and it's this gentleman named Frank Turek. I don't have their website on my thingy, but maybe I need to put it on there. But anyway, it's in the Go Deeper section. Check out crossexamined.org, and their article is called, where is it? Okay, it's called, Is God Immoral When He Kills People? Yeah, check out all those things. And then, hopefully they'll give us all a better understanding when it comes to this question of, can the giver of life take life? Now, I mean, I guess simple answer, yes, right? Because he gave the life, he can also take the life. Frank Turek breaks it down to say that, like, at the end of the day, if the Bible is true, right, then death is just transferring from one place to another place. So can God transfer you one place to another place? Simple answer, yes. We may wonder and struggle with the reasons why, and everything like that. And again, I think God wants us to ask all the questions, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking questions and everything like that, but don't get mad when you get the answers. I guess that's what's coming into my heart and mind right now. But hey, let's look into some Bible, because y'all could be like, oh, Miracle just talking, right? So, let me see. Okay, so one of the things that came into my heart and mind this morning to point out is there's a difference between murder and killing, okay? Killing and murder is different. I didn't write down the definitions today. Y'all can go look that up for yourself if you want to. However, just a little quick explanation of the two is murder is the unlawful taking of life, and then killing is the lawful taking of life. And the Bible does address both, So really, I guess the commandment is thou shalt not murder is what it really should be saying. And because there is, a lawful or justifiable killing. I know the Bible does address, like, if someone comes into your home and you strike them in the dark and they die, that is a justified killing because those people came into your home. Or whatever the case is. Or, of course, that's another example of, like, self-defense, things like that. Now, but the interesting thing is for me, right, as I was thinking about all of this stuff this morning, I just found it very interesting how we as humans, it's like, again, we're asking this question and we're saying these things like, oh, God is contradicting himself and everything like that. But it's like we're not putting God in the place that he's in. Like, we're not acknowledging who he is in this scenario. And if we're going to believe, again, that God, the God of the Bible, is God and all these different things, then that means there's just certain things that he can do that we can't do, right? Even if though we're made in his image. So even though the commandment may be, thou shall not kill, right? Or thou shall not murder, or however you look at it. Why you mad that I guess look the rules is for thee and not for him, right? Like I know they joke about this all the time. Rules for thee and not for me. This is probably one of those situations that the rules don't apply to him because he is the maker of the rule. And we're like, well, why is that? Why does he have the authority? But he made all things. And he created all things according to the Bible. So it's just very interesting to think about this or whatever, because it's like for whatever reason we're putting ourselves either above God or on the same plane as God, and we shouldn't, right? Jesus himself didn't even do that, and that's in y'all can check out Philippians 2:5-8 that talks about that. I did write down part of it, but even Jesus himself didn't see himself as equal to God, although he was God in the flesh. So that's the thing, and we need to be like him, and that's what that verse was saying. Let me go ahead and read it since I'm talking about it so much. It's Philippians 2:5-6 that I wrote down. It says, in your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who here I go again, y'all. I wrote down who something, I don't know. In very nature, God did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. And again, y'all can read that entire what those verses had to say about that. But yeah, he didn't use those godly attributes that he possessed for his advantage, right? And I say, and this is just me paraphrasing this whole situation, is that he didn't see himself as equal to God. Therefore why do we put ourselves above God, right? Why do we? So I guess you feel like because God can take life, that you should be able to take life. I don't know why we are like that, but yeah. So I think I want to start with this verse right here. And honestly, I wrote down the whole verse, but I really just want to share the part that stands out to me. And it's Numbers 23:19. And it starts by saying, God is not man. I just want to stop right there, to be honest. It goes on. It says that he should lie or have a son of man or a son of man, that he should change his mind. Has he said it? Will he not do it? Or has he spoken and will he not fulfill it? Yes, I understand that the whole verse says all of that. But I think the part that we need to get today is God is not man. Period. Anyway, and the interesting thing, so the conversation I had yesterday on the GSL talk show, the gentleman brought up Job and whatnot. He's like, oh, God went in on Job, da da da. And I was like, yeah, but the interesting thing is I went and looked at a little bit of that this morning, and I just was like, wow. Well, he did go in on Job. And matter of fact, in the Go Deeper section, he went in on Job between Job 38 in its entirety, Job 39, Job 40, and all the way to Job 41. So y'all can read all of that and everything like that. But the verse I felt led to share this morning is Job 38:4. It says, where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? It started there, y'all. It started there, and then he went on and on and on. But where were any of us? I know I confessed that back in the day, like back when I first was on my other YouTube channel or whatever. I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, I understand that I'm not God. At the end of the day, I didn't make myself. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't there at the beginning to be able to be like, yes, yay or nay. So I couldn't answer this question. I don't know if anybody else answer this question that's listening to the sound of my voice today. But where were you when God laid the foundations of the earth? Anyway, that was really, really interesting to reflect on this morning, that whole section. So I hope that y'all take a look at it if you have never done it before. Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. It says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. Excuse me, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." You know, the interesting thing, another interesting thing about this conversation is that the same people that will complain about like God and the things that and the judgment, right, that took place in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament and whatnot, because they'll talk about, oh, innocent people that was killed and da 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 da. And again, if you read those articles that I put in the Go Deeper section, then hopefully that'll give you an understanding of all those things. But hey, I mean, you got to be willing to go deeper, right? But anywho, however, one of the things that kind of just stood out to me is like the same people that would complain about that would be the same people that advocate for abortion, right? Like they want all the innocent life taken now, but then they want to complain about, I guess, the babies in Egypt or whatever the case is. Never mind what Pharaoh did and all that, and the taking of the babies of the Jews and whatnot. Y'all forget about that part. But then you want to, like, the judgment on that, y'all mad at. Like, it's just very interesting, you know, how that is and how we contradict ourselves, right? Like, we're the hypocrites in the situation, but then we're pointing at God and being like, well, you did this, God, so I guess therefore I should be able to do what you do. I don't know. Like, it's not the same. One of the articles talks about how somebody tried to use this scenario of like, if you leave a gun for your 6-year-old and tell them not to use it, and then they accidentally shoot themselves, like, would that be a good parent or not? And then they try to equate that to what was done in the garden. And again, like, it's amazing to me, again, you know, people that are into apologetics and that, you know, have these conversations with people and stuff, because, you know, obviously people try to say things to trip people up, right? And so this is what Frank Turek said back. Y'all can, again, check all this out for yourself. But basically he was like, there's a difference between God, who can, you know, again, the giver of life. There's a difference between the giver of life versus a father that can no longer resurrect life. Like, you know, there's a complete difference between the two. At the end of the day, you know, there's plenty of, you know, I feel like we talked about last week. Did we talk about a resurrected life or whatever? Something like that. And there's plenty of examples of, you know, those that died coming back, X, Y, and Z, and God having that authority. God and, you know, giving that authority to certain individuals like Jesus, and maybe even the bones of, who was that? Elisha. That's what we talked about last week. So, I mean, you know, so there's a complete difference between somebody that, if you have the ability to bring that life back, that's not the same as a person that tells somebody something and then you don't have that authority nor power to bring that life back. So just something to think about when we're asking these questions and everything like that. That is just another example of how God is not man, right? You know, but anywho, let's keep going. Romans 1:20. It says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." Listen, so I was writing down these other verses, right? And I'm just going in like, oh my gosh, Lord, oh, okay, you know, doing all that. And then at some point, it came into my heart and mind about this concept of those that, again, choose not to believe. And be like, well, God ain't real anyway, vibes. And I'm like, well, that's a whole different conversation, Lord, you know, when that had came into my heart and mind. But then this verse came into my heart and mind as well, and I was like, well, let me just write it on down. Basically, you know, anybody that wants to come and say, oh, there's no God, all this type of stuff, I mean, it says here that, I mean, his divine nature and all these things have been clearly seen since the beginning. So they're like, we have no excuse as humans to believe, we have no excuse at the end of the day, because we see all the things around us. We know that we didn't make ourselves. And there's just so many different things that are just, how can I say, like, I mean, I feel like I talk about this all the time, but here it is again, y'all. Our bodies alone, it's just amazing. Like, there's still things I don't think people even understand about our bodies. Okay, and then not to go on and talk about the Earth, right? Not then go on and talk about the solar system and the universe or whatever you want to call. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, there's just so much that you know what? Sorry, something just came to my heart and mind. I'll tell y'all in a second. But there's just so much, right, that is unknown to us and stuff like that. That to I mean, hey, like Frank Torres says, I mean, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Like, at the end of the day, you have to really deny that all things were created by something, to believe that there's no God. What was funny to me just a minute ago, I know people have been talking about Project Bluebeam and all that stuff that's been going on the past few weeks. I ain't paid too much attention to it, to be honest, but I know that's something that's going on. That's like current events. You know, they talking about all these different things. I guess one thing that's not funny is I did hear about the different, you know, railway attacks or something like that going on, y'all. It's a lot going on in these days and times and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. When it comes to extraterrestrials and all that stuff, I mean, who knows? To me, maybe those things are angels and demons. You know, I have no clue, you know, in regards to all of that. But hey, let's just keep going. Let's keep going, y'all. So we don't have no excuse, basically, is what I want to say in that part. I started looking up God's judgment, y'all, and on Openbible.info, and it was a lot. Like, there was a lot of things there. And so I just was like, I'm just going to send y'all there, and y'all can look it up for yourself and check out the verses that resonate with you by looking that up. But one of the ones that stood out to me was John 3:17. It says, "For God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him." You know, at the end of the day, if the rest of this conversation was pulp, something that you may not like, I hope that this encourages you and inspires you. That at the end of the day, God sent Jesus, right? Or God came down in the flesh as Jesus to save us, you know, not to condemn us. At the end of the day, if he wanted to condemn us, he could just strike everything down again and just be like, you know what, I'm done. You know, even when we're looking around and we see all the evil and all the stuff that's going on right now, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's on another level. And it probably is, right? And who knows? I know sometimes people are like, oh, we're worse than Sodom and Gomorrah now. But hey, again, seems to me that God is keeping his promise that he left with the rainbow, to say that he would never, flood the earth again and everything like that. So, he's holding on to that, right? And in that grace and mercy and whatnot that he has for us, we are seeing what we as humans do with our free will. And unfortunately, a lot of us use it for evil. Whether that's killing, stealing, whatever you may, fill in the blank, really. So, yeah, y'all, at the end of the day, I guess going back to the first verse that I guess was the inspiration this morning, as well as just to answer this question. The question was, can the giver of life take life, right? Well, I guess he's asking us a question today. And Lamentations 3:39 says, "Why should the living complain when punished for their sins?" And then that very next verse after that, verse 40 says, "Let us examine our ways and test them, and let us return to the Lord." So, y'all, that is ultimately the juice this morning. At the end of the day, the answer is yes, if you didn't know. But again, get a better understanding. If you have those questions, there's plenty of resources out here to do the research for yourself and study for yourself to show yourself approved. At the end of the day, you can't be out here, making all these bold claims and saying all these blasphemous things, and then at the end of the day, it's like, Have you read the Bible? No. So how do you even know what it says? Like, what are we even talking about then? If you can't make an informed or have an informed conversation, I mean, what are you doing? Now, if I needed some confirmation, which I didn't necessarily need none, but hey, if I needed some, the Bible verse of today, I feel like coincides with this beautifully. Or at least what the last verse that I just shared with you all, and that is Psalm 139, 23 to 24. It says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me on the way of everlasting." So, friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.